The vision of the ICPC is a Nigeria free from all forms of corruption and corrupt practices. One of the approaches the Commission uses in achieving this vision is the deployment of legal enforcement. The ICPC Act 2000 empowers the Commission to receive and investigate reports of corruption offenses, and where a prima facie case is established, to prosecute offenders. This is Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I am your host, Murna Barnabas Atiai. Today on the program, we shall take a look at a few cases arraigned in various courts across the country by ICPC. First, though, let us join Ruth Awodi as she brings us anti-corruption stories.
Welcome to this segment on Anti-Corruption Stories. I am Ruth Awodi. ICPC has pledged to collaborate with Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, to block leakages in the oil and gas sector. ICPC Chairman Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, SAN, made this pledge during a courtesy visit by NUPRC led by the Regulatory Commission's Chief Executive, Engineer Gbenga Komolafe. In his remarks, Dr. Liu discussed ICPC's corruption prevention mandate and the goals of its system study and review carried out by the Commission to reduce gaps and prevent resources from leaking in government agencies.
One of the areas where ICPC is using its mandate of prevention of corruption is the issue of system study review. That's where usually we are looking at the system and processes to see where are the gaps and how we can block them so that we'll be able to minimize this challenge of corruption which we are facing in this country. And ICPC, for a long period of time, it has prevented a lot of money from going out of government pockets. And I'm really happy that we can partner together to see that those leakages or the opportunities people have blocked, so that we'll be able to save a lot of money, and also our oil and gas sector upstream will have integrity, so that the investors will have confidence and international community too will have confidence that yes, we are doing our best to ensure that we do what we're supposed to do.
Earlier in his speech, Engineer Komolafe expressed his delight as he looks forward to collaborating with ICPC on the NUPRC regulatory focus and achieve its goals.
But our mission, like I said at the start this afternoon, is to come here. First of all, since you are assumption of office with nothing, I mean, to congratulate you and wish you a very successful tenure of office in this national assignment, and equally to assure you of our collaboration to work together, with the Commission, that is, with ICPC in our regulatory focus and direction. That we are very much open to areas of collaboration so that we can jointly achieve the national objective of setting up both agencies.
He went further to explain NUPRC's achievements in the past 2 years and stressed the need to continue making further strides in ensuring transparency in petrochemical accounting, optimizing the country's oil and gas production, and improving investors' confidence with ICPC's cooperation moving forward. And from our Imo State office, in an event aimed at instilling ethical values and integrity on students, ICPC carried out the inauguration of 30 schools anti-corruption clubs in secondary schools in Abia State. The event took place recently at Ibeku Secondary School, Umuahia, Abia State. Speaking at the event, the ICPC Imo State Resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Mr. Peter Alubungu, commended the students for their commitment to fighting corruption and encouraged them to be steadfast and persons of integrity while also serving as role models to their peers. Earlier in his welcome address, the Abia State Commissioner for Education, Professor Uche Eme, who was represented by the Director, Science and Tech Education in the Ministry of Education, Deaconess Hope Nwosu, highlighted the Abia State government's firm stance on zero tolerance towards corruption and corrupt practices. Delivering a lecture titled Corruption and the Imperatives of Anti-Corruption Clubs in Secondary Schools, Mrs. Chinwe Egbocha, an assistant director with ICPC, provided insights into the purpose and objectives of the clubs, admonishing the students to eschew all forms of corrupt practices and be models of integrity. This session was followed by the administration of an oath of membership on the students, which symbolized the commitment of the students to uphold ethical values and fight against corruption in their institution. That will be all on this segment. Corruption Must Go continues with Murna. Stay with us.
Fellow Nigerians, do you know that constituency projects are actually your projects? Do you know that constituency projects are funded by the federal government? Do you know that you can track release of constituency project funds for projects located in your constituency and follow up to know how they have been executed? Constituency projects happen because government does not want to leave any community out in development efforts. You have a responsibility to know what constituency project has been planned for your community, how much has been allocated for it, and whether value for money has been delivered. Take ownership of constituency projects located in your community. Protect them because they belong to you. Government knows about your needs and is planning for you. Government needs your help to ensure quality delivery. Know that constituency projects are actually your projects. Protect your constituency project. My constituency, my project.
For information on funds allocated to projects in your constituency, call 0800 2255 4272.
This message is from the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission and the National Orientation Agency.
This is Corruption Must Go. ICPC has docked a staff of Border Communities Development Agency, Mr. Suleiman Austin Adavize, for allegedly signing off a contract that was not completed. Mr. Adavize, who is an architect at Border Communities Development Agency, was said to have dishonestly stated in a progress report that an ICT center at Gumel local government area, Jigawa State, was completed. The alleged offense contravenes Section 70, subsection 1B of the Public Enterprise Regulation. Investigation by the ICPC, as well as information obtained from the Constituency and Executive Project Tracking Initiative, informed the decision of the Commission to take the aforementioned before the Honorable Court. ICPC Counsel Eno Igodaro Yahaya tells us more.
On the aspect of investigation carried out by the Constituency and Executive Project Tracking Division through their initiative. Now, the instant case of FRN and Austin Adavize, where there was a petition alleging that the contractor had not done a proper work by supplying 50% of work done. The initiative of the CEPTI made the contractor go back to sites to complete the work that he was paid for. And where he could not complete the remaining aspects, stating that the money he received from the agency who paid for the contract, the Border Community Development Agency, that he was underpaid. The the ICPC made him to return the money to the commission. Now, on the aspect of prosecution, the supervisor who supervised the contracts, it's going to serve as a deterrence, because other agencies who are in charge of government funds and are not doing what they ought to do properly, stating completion of work done or projects done when it is not 100% done, stating 100% completion, will be made to face the law.
The actions of the accused person contravene Section 16 of the ICPC Act 2000, which prohibits any public servant from who is being charged with the management of public fund from giving a false statement when such a fund is being misdirected in respect of a contract that is not being completed, and you've signed a handover note that such a contract has been completed while it has not been completed. So it's a total contravention of Section 16 of the ICPC Act. And that is why the makers of this law makes it mandatory and brings it into this act, because without such, many contractors would have been going away with public fund without completing their contract on site. And equally, Section 70 sub 1B of the Public Enterprises Regulatory Act 2004 equally prohibits a public officer who knows fully well that contracts awarded to contractors are not being completed, and he will now go and sign that such a contract has been completed. So that is why the accused person is being taken to court. He was fully aware that the contract was not 100% completed. He went and signed a report that such a contract has been completed. So it was on this basis that these sections of the law being violated that he was being charged to court, so that it can serve as a deterrent to other public officers and the contractors.
In another development, ICPC has arraigned one Professor Cyril Ndifon over allegations of sexual misconduct towards students. The initial 4-count charge was subsequently substituted on request by the Commission's legal team, as it was further alleged that the first defendant and his counsel, Barrister Sonny Anyao, had threatened a star witness in the sexual misconduct trial filed beforehand. The matter was brought before Honorable Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja. ICPC lawyer Dr. Oswebeni Ekoi Akponimensinga sheds light on the development.
The initial charges were gratification under Section 8 of our Act, Section 19, conferment of unfair advantage upon self, and then Cyber Crime Act, Section 24. Those were the initial charges. They were spread among some victims, and it was 4 counts. Now, it's like 2 of the victims, or 3 or thereabout, had count on each of those sections of the law. So generally we use the 4th count was cybercrime just for one of the offenses. Now there was need for us to streamline our prosecution, so we did a substitution of the old charge, the initial one. Why we did that was that in criminal trial, what the prosecution is aiming at is conviction, but not at all cost. If it comes, the aim is conviction. So we felt that we shouldn't bring in a bulky charge, because if you convict the defendant in 20 counts and in sentencing, the court will say the sentence should run concurrently. Is as good as convict him in on only 1 count. So we decided that let us just use 1. So we now streamline it and then substituted the earlier charge. If you read the Cybercrime Act, Section 41, it did not specifically mention the prosecuting agencies, but however, it gave a general view of those who can implement the provisions of the Cybercrime Act 2015, and they said military, they talked about intelligence agencies. Now they went further and mentioned law enforcement agencies. Even a layman on the street understands what ICPC does. ICPC basically is a law enforcement agency that fights corruption. So now with this Ndifon's case, Ndifon was the Dean of Law, Faculty of Law, University of Calabar. What he was doing, he has administrative control over the quality of the law program. He regulates it. He makes out policy decisions. He shares courses to be handled to lecturers in conjunction with the heads of department if they have split of departments at the Faculty of Law. That is what he does. So he has administrative control. And if they are challenging us that ICPC does not have jurisdiction to prosecute this matter, they do not have the capacity. The laws are very clear. A defendant does not have the power to say who should prosecute him. He should be ready to face whatever charge that is put before the court for him. And they also mentioned that the offenses were committed in Calabar. We are not arguing that. The offenses were committed in Calabar. If you go to section 50 of the Cybercrime Act, it's very clear. The law says, irrespective of the location of the offense or where the offense is committed, Federal High Court in any location in the country, any, that means the Federal High Court in Abuja, in terms of infractions on the Cybercrime Act, can be heard, whether it was the infractions were done in Calabar or not. The Federal High Court, it is the law that gives jurisdiction to court and the Constitution. Where the Constitution does not give jurisdiction to the court, the law establishing that particular offense can also confer jurisdiction on the court.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching Corruption Must Go. ICPC has also arraigned Mr. Bola Audu over an alleged 72 million naira fraud. Mr. Audu, who is a public officer in the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, was arraigned before Justice Yusuf Halilu of the Federal Capital Territory High Court for alleged misappropriation of 69 million naira meant for the purchase of a sport utility vehicle. The accused pleaded not guilty when the charge was read to him, Consequently, his counsel, Babatunde Adeosi, applied for bail, praying the court to grant his client bail before commencement of the trial. ICPC counsel, once again Dr. Oswebeni Ekoi, was on hand to enlighten us on the development.
Mr. Awudu's innocent Awudu's case is that he was, because he had been suspended, he was the president of Senior Civil Servants Association of Nigeria. There was a particular fund, about 60 million naira or thereabout, meant for him to buy a car, official vehicle, for his office as the president.
69 million.
69 million. He did not buy the car. Rather, he had a court case. He used that money to pay the legal fees of his personal case. Now, the money was appropriated for buying of a vehicle for the office of the president. That means that vehicle outlives the whoever that is buying it. So it is not for him. So he couldn't have taken that money to go and do his private work. It was for the office. So he ought to have bought that car. But he didn't buy it. He agreed that he actually misappropriated the money. And in our act, by so doing, he has contravened section 22, which we call vehement. Because if this money is for this one is for this, you're supposed to use it for that particular purpose, because they appropriated that money. And the expenditure head for that money is buying a vehicle, not to pay the services of a lawyer. Now, he did not only stop there, he also, about 3 million naira was given to him to conduct the election. He did not. He embezzled the money. Now, by spending that money to pay his lawyer for his own private case, he has conferred corrupt advantage upon himself. So that is where he falls squarely under section 19 of our act.
Arise, O compatriots. Nigeria's call, obey. To serve our fatherland with love, strength, and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with hearts and might. One nation bound in freedom, peace, and unity. This message is brought to you by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission.
By arraigning suspects before the courts, ICPC is adhering to the provisions of its enabling law, the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Act 2000, and in line with the rule of law. At the conclusion of the cases, when accused persons are brought to justice by the law, it serves as discouragement to others by letting them know that corruption, when discovered, has dire consequences. That's our package on this week's edition. You can watch this edition and other editions of the program on our YouTube channel at ICPC Nigeria. Reach us on our toll-free numbers and social media platforms at ICPC Nigeria as shown on the screen. See you again next week, Wednesday by 3:30 p.m. Until then, I am Murna Barnabas Atiai. Bye for now.